Hey FlossTube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 58th FlossTube video, and in this video I plan on sharing with you the things that I have been stitching for the past couple of weeks. Yes, it's been 2 weeks, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But first of all, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you. If you are returning, thank you for coming back and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. So as I mentioned, I didn't film a video last week. Last Saturday was really hectic. I had a ton of things to do, and I also had to prepare for the talk that I gave on Sunday. And I want to thank everyone who encouraged me with my talk. It went pretty well. I got a lot of compliments, and that's usually a good sign. I spent most of Saturday, basically, I knew what I was going to say, but I had to actually organize it and try to make it all fit in a logical progression, and that took most of the day. The week before, we also had car drama that we had to take care of, and so it was just a bad day to be trying to make a video. So that's why I didn't make a video last week. Things are going really well here. It's been really hot here in Arizona. No sign of the monsoon. I would love to get a nice rain shower, but it hasn't even really been muggy here, which is kind of strange for towards the end of July. We're still seeing there are some mornings when there's clouds in the sky, and I think, oh, maybe we're going to get a little bit of rain, but then it all burns off. So yeah, this continues to be a very strange summer for Arizona. It just hasn't been anything like anything we've seen before. As far as, first of all, it was cool in the beginning, and now it's warmed up, but the humidity hasn't gone up. So no monsoon, no thunderstorms. Usually by this time we've at least had some dust storms, and we haven't even had those. So first of all, I want to respond to a couple of comments that were left on my video since my last video. First of all, Rick asked me what I do with the projects that I finish, the projects that I stitch, and they're mostly sitting up in a bin in my closet. Yeah, I haven't really taken a lot of time to frame most of what I stitch. Part of the reason of that is I'm a little bit cheap, and it's kind of hard for me to justify spending so much money on framing something. The other thing is that I don't stitch to have something hanging on my walls. I stitch because I like to stitch, and I like the finished product. But my main pleasure in stitching comes from the actual process of stitching, rather than creating something that I can hang on my wall. So that's kind of why, one of the main reasons why I guess everything sits in a bin in my closet. Renita Rawling mentioned, and one of the pieces that I've been working on that I'm going to be showing you is Amid Amish Life. She told me about another place where you can find it, and she said that it is in the winter 2016 issue of Cross Stitch and Needlework. And if I remember right, that is the last issue that they published before they stopped publishing, and I believe that issue was just basically a retrospective of some of their most popular designs. So as she says, all 3 designs are in Cross Stitch and Needlework Winter 2016, and there may be some other really good designs in there. I never saw that issue. Okay. So I had Lynn Boyson asked me about Autumn Magic, and I have been kind of wondering if anybody would notice that I've kind of put it aside, and I have. So we'll talk about it a little bit. So if you've been following me for a long time, I've been stitching Autumn Magic. It is a design based off of a painting by Randall Spangler, and it's a picture of a house in an autumn setting. I'll try to put in a picture so that you can see what it would look like if it was finished. This is a design that is a computer-generated design by Heaven and Earth Designs. And just to refresh your memory, this is how far I got on it. And this was the last time I worked on it was the middle of March. So what happened to me is there is a Russian stitcher who was stitching this same project. And she started from the top and started working down. And I was kind of following her just out of curiosity to see how things went. And she got to right down in here, right here. And right here is the front porch, and there's a man standing on the steps. And she stitched that part and posted a picture, and the man's face is just a blob of peach. There's almost no features to his face. And that kind of turned me off a little bit because yeah. So I'm still kind of coming to terms with that and trying to decide if I want to spend the time working on this. This has always had some things that have really kind of bugged me because it's computer generated. So this, if you look really closely, this is really pixelated down here. The roof, in the original painting, the roof is greener than this. This is black, almost completely black. And I think that the algorithm that chooses colors is favoring black over any other color. So, and that kind of happens in different locations. And that's kind of bugged me. And seeing the man's face was just kind of the last straw for me. Now, there are going to be people who say, but it'll look great from 3 feet away, and nobody's going to look at it close. And I understand that sentiment, and I agree with it to some extent. But I don't want to stitch something like that. I want to stitch something that looks good up kind of close and far away. And I'm kind of disappointed by this. And it's on indefinite hiatus, and I do not know that I will, as of right now, I have no plans to pick it back up again. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to stitch another Heaven and Earth design. I think that there are Heaven and Earth designs that work very well with the computer-generated system. I mean, Ginger Gerald's Henry looks wonderful, and I think that part of the reason why that one looks good is it's one big subject instead of a whole bunch of little details, which is what this Autumn Magic is turning out to be. And so I may consider stitching another Heaven and Earth sometime, but it will be something more, probably something more along the lines of one big subject rather than something with a lot of details. It's kind of a crapshoot, right? Because you don't know what it's going to look like until you actually start stitching. And yeah, they have previews to show what it will look like, but there's just not enough information there. So anyway, that's kind of where that is. So yeah, Autumn Magic is off of my WIP list. And when I took it off, it kind of felt like a little bit of a relief. And I'm kind of taking that as a sign. So that's the way it goes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I have been stitching for the past couple of weeks. Let's see here. So when I last talked to you, I was going to start working on Autumn Magic. And of course, this is a design of 3 pictures that can be stitched separately or together. I am stitching them together. This was originally in the March, May, and July 1987 issues of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. And they were reprinted in this book, 101 Best Loved Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. They are also available, as I mentioned before, in the winter 2016 issue of Cross Stitch and Needlework. I've heard that they're in a leaflet, although I've never seen the leaflet, so they must be widely available. At any rate, I'll insert a picture of what this looked like the last time you saw it. And I am stitching this on 25 count Wedgewood Lugana. I am stitching with, because it's 25 count, I am stitching with 3 strands of floss because I wanted to make sure that I had good coverage with it. And yeah, so this is what it looks like now. So I am really happy with what I was able to stitch this last time. I was able to stitch just over 2 diagonals. And as you can see, I'm starting to move across the top now. You can see these clouds that are appearing, seeing more of the house. Here's the roof of the house. So that's exciting. We've got another window on the 2nd story. This flower box here. And then over here we're starting to see, this is the path that leads to the house, and this is the dress of a woman who is walking up. So the division between, this is the first design and this is the second design. The division is right here. This design is called Hanging the Quilts. You can see we have the quilts all hung. And this one is called Visiting the Neighbors. And so you can start to see the neighbors are starting to come to visit. I'll give you a little bit closer look. And yes, I am still really enjoying this. I just love this style. I love this background in here. And now that it's almost finished, it looks really good. This tree right here is all finished, and that really looks cool. So yeah, it has been really fun to work on this, and I'm making pretty good progress. I'm about a quarter of the way finished. The center of the piece is like right in here, so the bottom is getting close to halfway. And I don't know, my spreadsheet says 2 more months. If I were to work on this constantly, I would finish it in 2 more months. That feels a little bit fast to me, but maybe that's right. So maybe about 8 more times through my rotation and it should be finished. Well, the stitching should be finished, and then there is a lot of back stitch in this. So I'll be spending probably a month back stitching. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. And looking forward to when it comes back up in my rotation. And then last week I worked on this. I worked on a Saviour's Praise. This is a design by Theresa Venette of Shakespeare's Peddler. There are a ton of people working on this, and it's fun to see everybody working on this on Instagram. I see somebody's posting their progress almost every day, and it's fun to watch, especially since everybody else started up at the top. So I've seen a lot of the top. I started down at the bottom. So I'll insert a picture of what this looked like the last time you saw it. And I've been stitching this, I am stitching this on 35 count Beach Brew by R&R. And I'm stitching with the called for anchor floss. And some weeks. And this is what it looks like now. And as you can see, my goal for this last week was to to finish this right border and then start working on the words. And I think I accomplished that. It's been really fun. I mean, so this house, what I'm learning about this piece is it's deceptive. And I think that's because, did I say 35 count? This is 40 count. The 40 count, the stitches are so small that it makes everything look small. But even though it's small, there are a ton of stitches in here. So this house took a long time to stitch. It took 2 nights to stitch, just because the stitches are so dense in there. And then, yeah, so I stitched this. I stitched more of this border and these plants coming up here. And then I've stitched this bell with the stars. There are lots of bees through here, like here's bees down here, bees here. And then I stitched to welcome thy mysterious king and sing a Saviour's praise. So all of this, yeah, I'm really happy with my progress. So the next time I work on this, I'm going to work on this left-hand side. And I'm actually going to have to, piety is written right here. I am going to change that to virtue. So I'm going to have to figure out how to fit a little bit bigger word into a smaller space. So I've been kind of avoiding that, but it's getting to the point that I'm going to have to figure that out. So I'll give you a little bit closer look. Yeah, this is really fun, and I'm really glad to be working on this piece. I've really enjoyed it so far. So I'm looking forward to pulling this one out again in about a month. So that brings me to what I'm going to work on this week, and I am going to be working on The Winter Garden by the Drawn Thread. This is a piece that I started back in May, and I am working, and I am going to be picking up where I left off back then. If you remember, I had a couple of issues that I'm still going to put off until I decide whether or not I'm going to actually fix them. But this is what it looks like right now. So I've stitched these plants. I think after I stitch this is, the conifer. Then I'm going to get over into the house. So that'll be kind of exciting to get to the house. Yeah, this one, I've really enjoyed working on it. I think I'm getting used to working with silk a little bit. So we'll see how this goes this time. So hopefully, I don't know if I'll be able to finish the house. That may be something that's a little bit ambitious. We'll see how this goes. But I would like to finish the house. You think I could get over here? I guess we'll see. At any rate, I'm looking forward to working on this again. It has been a while. I needed a bit of a break from it, so but it's time to pull it back out and see what I can do with it. So yeah, and that's the last piece of my rotation. So that means that next week I should be ready to start something, and I'm trying to decide what I'm going to start. I've got a great big huge list of things that I want to start, and yeah, I'm having a hard time making a decision. So maybe by next Saturday I'll know what I want to stitch. Anyway, that is all that I have to share with you. As always, you can follow my daily progress on Instagram. I am at blitstitch on Instagram. and you can follow me there to see how I'm working, how I'm progressing during the week. As always, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe to this video. I always enjoy hearing from you and would be glad to answer any questions that you have for me. I hope that you have a great week, and we will talk to you later. Goodbye.